Hello friends, welcome to Vijay Gupta Physiology, and today we will be trying to learn the applied physiology of excitation contraction coupling. In our previous video we have understood the sequence of excitation contraction coupling and some of the very important aspects in the sequence of EC coupling. In continuation with that video, today we will try to understand the sequence once again in short, and also we will try to understand the certain diseases or you can say pathologies which arise at the junction or at the point of excitation contraction coupling. Let us look at the diagram, and once again we will try to understand the sequence and what are the complications which are associated at different locations in EC coupling. If you could see in EC coupling, in the EC coupling, what we have is let me just share the screen. Yes, what do we have in EC coupling is we have a sarcolemma, which is the membrane of the muscle fiber. The sarcolemma is folded, or you can say there are invaginations in sarcolemma called as T tubules. We have between two T tubules, we have longitudinal tubules called as L tubules, which are nothing but a sarcoplasmic reticulum, which is a modified endoplasmic reticulum. We have calcium ions which are stored in these L tubules. We have actin and myosin filaments which does the function of contractions. Let us look at the sequence and all the related proteins in EC coupling. We have DHPR on the T tubule, which is a modified voltage gated calcium channels, also known as dihydropyridine receptor. The DHPR on T tubule is in mechanical connection with another protein on the L tubule known as RYR, that is ryanodine receptor. The ryanodine receptor is a protein which is present on L tubule cistern of L tubule. Much of the portion of RYR is extramembranous, very small portion is in the membrane. The RYR or ryanodine receptor is actually a calcium channel which allows calcium ion from L tubule into the myoplasm. If the channel is open, the calcium ion will move from the L tubule into the cytoplasm, or you can say myoplasm of the sarcomere. The RYR is connected to DHPR by some mechanical connections on proteins known as STAC3 proteins, which gives a feet-like appearance and also called as feet between RYR and DHPR. So we have DHPR, we have RYR, and STAC3 proteins or feet. Apart from these, there are a few more proteins. The SERCA, which is a sarcoplasmic endoplasmic reticular calcium ATPase, which pumps calcium back into the L tubule with the help of ATP supplied from mitochondria. So you have SERCA, which takes the calcium back into the L tubule, and we have RYR, which is responsible for releasing of calcium ions from L tubule into the cytoplasm. We have another few more proteins which are helping the structural, or you can say the supporting proteins. The name of them are triadin and junctin. These proteins, they are actually supporting RYR along with one more protein known as calciquestrine. The calciquestrine or calciquestrine is a protein which is storing or which attaches with the calcium ions, and it is also very much important in terms of its property, which is a low affinity and high capacity calcium binding protein. The calciquestrine has a low affinity for calcium but has a very high capacity to store calcium. In this form, it binds to calcium ion, and it decreases the load of free calcium ions in the endoplasmic reticulum, thereby helping SERCA to be more effective in its functioning. Remember, free calcium ions will cause increase in the concentration gradient, and it will make it difficult for SERCA to work. So the calcium which is binding to calciquestrine decreases the workload of SERCA in terms of free calcium ions. Apart from this, we have one more very important protein, and that is sarcaluminin. A sarcaluminin is a protein which helps in transportation of calcium ions. Transportation of calcium ions from the longitudinal areas of L tubules into the cistern of the L tubules. So sarcaluminin, it takes a calcium ion which is taken by the SERCA from longitudinal area to the calciquestrine. Calciquestrine stores the calcium ions and it will release whenever they are required. Since we know all these structural proteins, let us try to understand how the EC coupling is sequenced. In a short, we have neuromuscular junction, which releases the acetylcholine as a neurotransmitter, which binds onto the muscle membrane, causes entry of sodium ions, which causes development of EPP, which finally generates action potential. The action potential travels all the way from the sarcolemma into the T tubules. This action potential, it activates DHPR. Once DHPR is activated, the RYR opens the calcium channels and calcium is released into the myoplasm. Once calcium is released into the myoplasm, or you can cytoplasm, these calcium ions, they bind onto the actin filament. Binding of calcium ions onto the actin filament causes the actin myosin complex to form, and hence bringing the contraction of the sarcomere. Once the contraction is done and it wants to relax, the SERCA starts working. The SERCA takes calcium back into the L tubule, and the cytoplasm calcium load decreases and actin myosin complex breaks and the muscle relaxes. So this is the whole event of the excitation contraction coupling. There are various diseases which are associated at various regions in the excitation contraction coupling. Let us try to understand each of those diseases. Let us name them one. The first one we know is a Brodys disease, which is associated with SERCA, the sarcoplasmic endoplasmic reticular calcium ATPase. We have malignant hyperthermia, which is typically associated with the ryanodine receptor mutation. We have central core disease, which is associated with the mitochondria in the sarcomere. And we have myotonia congenita also. Let us look at the first as a ryanodine receptor as its structure. It's a homotetramer with the protein structures in the homotetrameric form. It's quite a larger protein, more than 500 kilodaltons. You can see much of the ryanodine receptor is extramembranous, means the protein has much of its structure outside the membrane, and very small part of this ryanodine receptor is inside the membrane. It is one of the very important protein as far as the malignant hyperthermia is concerned. You can see the cytoplasmic portion is quite larger and the membranous portion is quite smaller. Much of the protein is in the cytoplasmic area and very less is in the endoplasmic area. One of the very important pathologies associated with ryanodine receptor is malignant hyperthermia. It is a type of autosomal dominant disorder which is because of the mutations in ryanodine receptor or because of calcium homeostasis. Remember, calcium homeostasis means calcium is released from RYR and taken back into the SERCA. Because of this malignant hyperthermia, the ryanodine receptor is mutated, and under the effect of certain drugs like halothine or succinylcholine, it causes excessive release of calcium ion from sarcoplasmic reticulum, which causes increased calcium ion in the cytoplasm and leading to excessive muscle rigidity or tachycardia or some sort of hyperventilation. All these conditions will occur generally during surgical procedures, and they will be lethal if not treated very immediately. Yeah, so one of the very crude complication here is the increased calcium in the cytoplasm because of excessive release of calcium from the L tubules via calcium channels or ryanodine receptor. The another condition is the central core disease. Now, central core disease is associated with the loss of mitochondria. It is again an autosomal dominant type of trait. The mitochondria is less, and because there are less number of mitochondria, the ATP available is less. So the SERCA is unable to function properly and put the calcium back into the L tubule. So as some sort of activity, like some sort of exercise or some sort of muscular activity, it causes excessive calcium to accumulate into the myoplasm, and the SERCA are unable to work and leads to muscle weakness. This disease is also been treated in the line with the malignant hyperthermia, because the reason, the overall basis of the disease is same: increased calcium load in the cytoplasm. The loss of mitochondria, it can be because of increased calcium ion, or it can be also called as mitochondrial calcium overload. There is also some sort of destruction of the muscle fibers in this disease. So we have malignant hyperthermia, we have central core disease. Both of them is because of increased calcium ions in the cytoplasm. There is one more condition which is called as Brodys disease. Now Brodys disease is associated with the SERCA as a pump. The SERCA is mutated over here because of mutation in the gene. It can be a recessive or it can be an autosomal dominant type. Because of the mutation in the SERCA1, it is unable to pump calcium back into the altibule. Again, calcium accumulates in the myoplasm, causing excessive muscle cramping because of increased muscular activity like exercise or running. So it causes muscle cramping, which can be painless because of excessive exercise. The accumulation of calcium ions causes this condition. We have one more condition which is very different from all three. Remember, in all these three conditions, there is effect, or the effect is calcium homeostasis is not functioning properly because the calcium is released and it should be taken back. In malignant hyperthermia, the calcium is released excessively, whereas in Brodys disease, the calcium is unable to be taken back into the altibule, and even in central core disease, the calcium is unable to go back into the altibule. The last one is called as myotonia congenita, which is quite different in all the respects. It is because of mutation in the CLCN1, which is typically a voltage gated chloride channel. Now this channel it allows chlorine ion to move across the membrane, and it helps in maintenance of RMP, and hence determines the excitation of the sarcolemma and the sarcomere. Because this gene is mutated, because this protein is mutated, this channel is mutated, it causes the muscle to get more excitable. There is increased excitation at the T-tubule and L-tubule areas, which causes excessive release of calcium ions again. So it's called as myotonia congenita. Again, typically the reason behind this is there are painless cramping because of excessive muscle activity. So these are the 4 diseases which we have discussed so far in AC coupling. We'll just go through back, or in a revised form. We have myotonia congenita, we have the Brodys disease, we have central core disease, we have malignant hyperthermia, and these diseases are associated with the calcium homeostasis, ryanodine receptor, and overall the sarcomere and EC coupling. So I hope you enjoyed today's learning. This is a short glimpse of, or you can say a rapid way of learning the disease and applied physiology associated with the excitation contraction coupling. We'll see with few more videos in upcoming week. See you all. Bye bye. Please subscribe to the channel Vijay Gupta Physiology for more videos. Till then, thank you. Bye bye. Have a nice day.